Hello, everyone. Welcome to NLP and the Coronavirus Day 19. Thank you for all your feedback for the one that we did yesterday with James, and I'm really pleased you liked it. And I put out tonight, because I'm kind of like mind reading you guys as far as what I can provide value for, and I think I've done fairly well so far. And, I just put out a message, and I've had a couple of replies back, as far as like what you need right now, what you want right now. I think I can probably do the rest of the week based on those. So thank you very much. But Nicole Dodd was the first person with a question or something that she needed, something that she wanted, which was, I'm not talking out of turn because it's actually in the thread. So thank you, Nicole, for being so honest and being so forthright. Is that she's finding like noise, annoying, sounds of other people around, and people's behavior in general being annoying. Now we're on lockdown. Okay, so firstly, I'm gonna say what we can do about it. But before we actually do that, there's something that we need to realize. We are in a very unusual context at this point in time. I have never known anything like this in my entire life, 57 years. My mum, hi mum, if you're watching, my mum watches these. My mum is, in her mid 80s, and, I'm going to speak to her tomorrow because I speak to her every weekend. And I said to her, Mum, was this like the Second World War? And she goes like, no, I've never experienced anything like this before. Even in the Second World War, yes, there was rationing, but at least we could still go to the pub, we could go to the shops and whatever, and we could socialize. So, something that's very unique about this current situation is the isolation. If you're on your own, I know, Pam, you put a message in, you were missing laughter. I can guarantee you when my friend Steve McDermott joins me next week, we will have lots of laughter. Okay, Pam? So we're going to almost sort us out. So there's the isolation if you're on your own. Then, that's challenging. But then challenging also is now spending 24 hours a day with the people that you live with, who in the main for a lot of people. I mean, I know there could be housemates, flatmates, etc. But I think a lot of people are experiencing now spending 24 hours a day with, their family, their partner, their husband, their wife, their boyfriend, girlfriend, their kids, maybe your parents, and we're not used to that. And, we're used to being able to, as Nicole said, I can't get out. Whereas normally it would be part of your routine or part of your ritual that you would be able to, get out of the house, get out of the building. You go to work, you go and do shopping on your own, you go and meet your friends on your own, etc. So I think that the thing to realize with this is that in the main, people's behaviors haven't changed. Their behaviors would have annoyed you anyway if you were with them for 24 hours. It's just that you weren't with them for 24 hours. There was, as Nicole actually said in her message, her post, there was an escape. And now there isn't. So, the thing that I'm drawn to with this is okay, so how do we fix this? What do we do around this to actually make our time in lockdown more comfortable, more bearable? And again, I'm drawn to Huna. Because in Huna, we have a process called Ho'oponopono. That's H-O apostrophe O, and Pono, P-O-N-O, and it's repeated twice. So it's Ho'oponopono, which means to make right. And when you've got a word repeated twice in Hawaiian, it means multiplied, not just like double right. It means very, very, very right. And in the original days of Ho'oponopono, the people that you might not be pono with, the people you might not be right with, you would live with. They'd be in your village. They'd be in your house, etc. So you would do Ho'oponopono face to face. And it's very similar to the native Indian, American Indian tradition of the peace pipe. So, what you'd do is you'd say whatever you needed to say to the person. And then they would get their right to reply, and they would say, and whatever you said was pono. It was right. It was just your perception. Whatever they said was pono, was right. It's their perception. All of these situations, these conflicts are caused by a mismatch of perceptions, a mismatch of projections. We all have, even if they live in the same household together, we all have different values, and those values mean different things to us. And, how those values are satisfied mean different things to us. So even if you're with somebody that you've been with for years and years and years, quite often what we do is we mind read that their values are the same as ours. Like, for instance, their values for relationship are the same as ours. Their values for family are the same as ours. And it'd be very rare if they were. And then if you actually, let's say that you got two people together and their number one value in a relationship was love. And then you said, so what does love mean to you? And what does love mean to you? They'd fall out over it. Or, how would you know that you were loved in a relationship? And how would you know you were loved in a relationship? And they'd fall out about it. But this is what actually, what we're actually getting at in this situation is the NLP presupposition of everybody has a unique model of the world. Even the person that you thought that you knew what their model of the world was, because they live with you every day, whether they be your partner, whether they be your kids, you suddenly start to realize, whoa, that their values are very different. And even if the value at a top level label is the same, the meaning of that label could be very different. And what that person wants or needs to have that value satisfied could be very different from yours. So that's really what Ho'oponopono was about. And it was about respecting other people's model of the world. That's the word we put on it today. They probably wouldn't put it in ancient Hawaiian. And about forgiveness, about forgiving each other. And realizing what the other person's going through, them realizing what you're going through, and then, becoming pono, becoming right with that. So that's the way it would be done in ancient Hawaii and the traditional American Indian tradition. It was the peace pipe. When you were holding the peace pipe, you could talk, but nobody else could. And nobody else could talk until you handed the peace pipe to the next person. I've used this process a lot with families. Families that are in conflict and relationships, partners that are in conflict. And I don't have a peace pipe. I just have a pencil or a pen, and I go like, okay, you're holding. Here's the rules of the game. when the person's holding the pen or the pencil, they can talk and nobody else can. You can only talk when the person who's holding the pencil, holding the pen, is emptied out and hands the pencil to the next person who wants to talk. And they can empty out. But you see, what happens a lot is that people are talking at the same time. It's never going to get sorted. And you know, I've coached that a number of times with families, and you know, I have to be real tough and real strict sometimes, because you know, I give the pencil to the son. The son is like, oh, this is what I think of my dad, blah, 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 blah. And dad's going, but, and I go like, shut up, you haven't got the pencil. And of course the son's laughing like mad. David's telling my dad to shut up. And then son said everything he can say or needs to say. I go like, okay, dad, pencil's with you. And of course dad starts saying everything about son. And son's going like, but, I go like, shut up, you. But it's a magical process over a number of hours. It kind of like resolves the most, what would appear on the surface to be the most dysfunctional family situation. It solves it really, really quickly, because one of the ways of solving things is to talk about things and becoming pono with things. Okay. So that's the situation. You know, people's behavior at this moment, you know, you're seeing their behavior and you can't get away from it. It always bothered you. It's not that it's suddenly bothering you now. It always bothered you. And when I, you know, first Facebook Live, I mentioned, where's the bother? Where is the problem? It's not them. The problem is inside of you, right? So using the techniques that we've already talked about, then you can resolve that inside of you. But you'll never resolve it as long as you think it's your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. You'll never resolve it whilst you're thinking it's your kids. You'll never resolve it whilst you think it's to do with the coronavirus. You'll never resolve it whilst you think it's the people queuing in the shops. They are the trigger, the problems inside of you. So as long as all the time you're pushing it outside of you, you'll never get the solution. As soon as you go like, okay, this is me. Right. And now I've realized it's me. What do I do about it? And, you know, I and my guests have already shared with you huge amounts of tools and techniques to be able to sort that. But what I'm going to do is in my app, the I'm David Shepherd app, I've got all of my audio programs, including Ho'oponopono. And though the Ho'oponopono that's in the app is a Ho'oponopono which enables you to do that process with everybody and everything, which is quite a lengthy process. You can also do Ho'oponopono with one person or with just one thing. So what I'm going to do over the next few days is I'm going to record a new Ho'oponopono, which is a guided process where you can do Ho'oponopono with just one person or a few people, yeah, rather than everybody and everything, which takes around about, you know, half an hour or something like that. So a guided process where you can do Ho'oponopono with just one person or a few people. That could be your partner, your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. And it's a really powerful process, you know, of healing. It's of healing yourself. But also what it does is it enables you to heal your projections. And, you know, at the moment, we've had a number of situations where, you know, a loved one was not well, maybe in hospital, maybe in ICU. And you can't even get to talk to them. So even if you know NLP, timeline therapy, mental emotional release, Huna, havening, whatever, what can you do? And, you know, a number of people I've spoken to were very frustrated about that and felt anxious about that because there was nothing they could do. There is always something you can do, which is you can heal up the part of you that's them. And I've guided a number of people through that process over the last week or so, a number of my clients, a number of students. And the results, you know, dare I say, have been pretty miraculous, pretty amazing. But you see, as soon as there's something that you feel that you can do about it, you're not anxious about it anymore because you're doing something. Yep, that's a really important thing. So I'm gonna record that. Over the next couple of days, we'll do a live on that process. I've been asked for this process a number of times. Another friend of mine, Martin Webster, I was speaking to last week, said, if you were to do a Ho'oponopono with one person and put it on YouTube, I'd spread it everywhere. Martin, your wish is my command if you're watching this. So I'm going to do that over the next couple of days. I'm going to use some new music that you haven't heard before from another very good friend of mine, Frederick Carlson. And then we'll have that available as a download for you to download so you can do the process, share it with as many people as you want to. So thanks, Nicole. I was wondering what I was going to talk about. Your one comment then just tripped our whole series of things out of my unconscious mind. So we're good. And I'm going to get that done, and that'll be we'll do that next week. That'll be available next week. Yep. So wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining me. Please give us thumbs up so that you know so that we know, I know, and all of my guests know that we're doing the right thing. This is the stuff that you need. This is the stuff that you want. And also, you know, if you only just saw the message about what do you need, what do you want from me and any of the guests, then please reply to that thread. Because I will make all of it happen, whether it be me or whether it be any of my guests. I guarantee you that I will make that happen. So wherever you are, love you lots, and ahui ho.